Good morning. I'm using Photoshop, and this is a Wacom MobileStudioPro. So what I'm doing, I think he just needs a bit more work. A bit more work on his face. That ear needs work because that's just blocked in, and also his body. So I'm hoping maybe get him finished today, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to say he's finished unless I'm sort of happy, 100% happy with him. Or, well, 100% happy to say that he's finished. So I'm just sharpening up some of the details on his back. No, Mobile Sketch is yeah, Photoshop. Do you mean Photoshop Draw? Because I've used that one. I think the mobile versions of Photoshop are very different to the actual desktop version. I don't think you can do as much in them, but then I haven't used them for a long time on a mobile. I just like the Mobile Studio Pro because you can use all your desktop apps on it, plus it's yeah, I like the Mobile Studio Pro because you've got all your desktop apps on it, plus you can you know, take it out and about with you. So if you're doing your work on your desktop, you can then, you know, go outside if it's a nice day, or hi Harbonaut. Yeah, the Cintiqs are great. I've got a 27 QHD sat on the desk behind me, and I love the size of that. I would like at some point to try one of the new Cintiqs, but at the moment I'm just quite happy with the Mobile Studio Pro. Yeah, it's totally portable. It's just a compact computer. That's basically it. It's like any sort of laptop really, except you've got a lovely screen to draw on. It's very nice. It just feels lovely to paint on. I don't know if you can hear it when I paint. You can sort of, it almost sounds like you're drawing with a marker. Don't know if you can hear that. But you get a really nice sort of friction coming from the screen, and it does feel like you're drawing on paper. Hello everybody. Anybody who's just joined? I said I was going to start this at 8 o'clock, but I started it a bit early just to make sure everything was running and working properly. So just to recap, just doing some final bits on this guy. I'm just tightening up some of the details on his back. I still have a lot to do on his face and his neck, well everywhere really, so it's just a general just going over and just tightening up all the details really, and then he'll be done. Then I can start on something else next week. How many days? It's difficult to say because I can only really work on it sort of maybe an hour a day in the morning. So maybe started a couple of weeks ago, so 10 days, so maybe 10 hours. Good morning, Wardy says. How are you and how's your lovely little pug? Yes, I did use a reference photo. I don't think I'm confident enough yet to start drawing my own paintings from scratch, but that's what all I'm doing is I'm sort of gradually building up confidence. It's like I started just doing sketches and then just started working in black and white, and then gradually moved up to working from black and white to colour, and then I started working just in colour. And once I've worked on just colour for a while, I need to work on my speed. So I might try and do some more sort of speed paintings. That's sort of my next thing. But yeah, hopefully I'll progress to a point where I start making things up. I think it's only recently that I've started doing things that I really like and I'm really happy with, and it's with my painting rather than my 3D work. With my 3D work, it was good and I liked it, but it was always, there's something about it. I was always pushing to get to the next level, and you know, I just wasn't getting there. But I think with my painting, I'm really seeing progression, and I'm quite happy with some of my recent stuff. Particularly when I compare it to what I was painting this time last year. You know, when I look at that and then I look at how much I've progressed in a year, it just makes me quite excited to how I'm going to progress in another year. So it's just about doing a little every day and progressing. See you later, Harbour Note. Have a good day. Thanks everybody. Thanks for the kind words. I just thought with this being the last day of my Wacom takeover, I would do a live stream. I wasn't sure if I could do one directly through their page, so I thought I'd just do one on here, and then anybody could join if they wanted to. So back onto doing some painting. I'm just tightening up some of the details, and I always do that. I have it set to the eraser and then I'm wondering why it's not working. Yeah, I tend to start with a reference photo, and I normally have it as in the same window here, and that gives me sort of 90% of the work. But obviously I add my own sort of twist to it. I don't directly copy it. And then sort of in these last stages, I sort of get rid of the reference and I start sort of adding my own sort of tweaks and adjustments to it. I don't quite like just completely copying a photograph one for one. I like to add my own spin to make it a bit more unique. That's why I've got the sort of the long necks, the larger heads, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I do use reference at the moment, but I'm hoping to get to a stage in the future where I start making up characters, and you know, it's just all about building up confidence, and I don't feel like I'm at that level yet. I think using a reference photo is like my safety net in a way. But I'll get there at some point. If you'd have asked me 3 years ago that would I be sat here painting pictures like this, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd have said no way. But you know, it just goes to show what you can do if you sort of push yourself. And it's great having this smaller version of the painting in the navigator here, just because you're so focused on working on these tiny details, you don't see the bigger picture, so it's good to just glance back and think, oh, actually that highlight's too bright, because it looks too bright on there. And I often make an adjustment here, and then I'm looking back here just to see how it looks. Because when your artwork's done, you're looking at it like that, you're not looking at it close up. Yeah, I don't have a colour palette, I just kind of make it up as I go along. I don't tend to pick the colours from the photos. I like to try and use my judgment. I think if I force myself to do that more, then my colour will get better. Well, like I said earlier, I actually use, in the early stages, I use a reference photograph. So this is actually taken from a photo that I used. I think I might still have it open. So this is the guy that I'm using as a reference. So I get all the lighting, the shadows, the skin tones, you know, the basic how it should look to sort of guide me. But then I just, like I say, I've made the head bigger, made some slight adjustments to the face, made the neck longer, adjusted the torso. So I use that for 90% of the work. And then I tend to just think, right, I've got to a point where I'm happy with it. So I get rid of the reference and then I just start sort of adding my own flair to it. Sometimes I'll add some backlighting around the side of the face just to bring that out, which isn't in the reference photo. I just play around with things just to see what works, see what doesn't. Sometimes the backlighting actually adds to it and makes some of the details pop. Some of the stuff that you wouldn't see in the main photo. So yeah, I'm at the stage now where I'm just sort of tightening up all the details and just, you know, doing one last pass over him just to finish him off really. I've been meaning to try Sketchbook, especially now that it's free. I think once I've finished this guy, I might download it onto here and have a play around with it. I've used it on a mobile before, on the iPad. But I've not used the desktop version, so I'm interested to try it. Have you tried it? What do you think? Is it worth having a look? Yeah, I agree. I do like Photoshop. Yeah, sure. If you DM me, if I'm not already following you, DM me and I'll check your page out. Yeah, I can show my brushes. Can you see? So I've got them down here on the side here. You want me to sort of demonstrate and draw what with them and what they do? To be honest, I've got these brushes here for hair, various textures, skin, but I only really probably use about 3 or 4 of them. I tend to use these when I'm doing my normal sketching. Let me just create a new. Right, so actually I'll save this before I accidentally do something. So I've got like some sketchy brushes, so when I'm roughing out at first, just, you know, like this. So you know, like so. So, you know, your basic sketch. Then there's a sort of harder brush. I'm just making the brushes a little bit bigger, just so you can see. So you see, this is a bit more solid. And then another solid one, but this is a bit more tapered. But these are the ones I normally use. So I've got like a soft brush, and this is what I use for my shading, my colour work. You see, you can get some really nice blends with it. And then I've got a harder brush. And this is nice for sort of defining creases and things like that. And then a tapered version of the hard brush. I do use this one quite a lot for eyelashes, things like that. These down here, I don't really use these. Although, tell a lie, I've just used this one to do the guy's dreadlocks, just because you can draw, you know, and you get that sort of bobbly look to it. And then down here I've just got various ones that I play around with to try and get a sort of a skin tone. And again, I don't use a lot of these. You know, they're just various speckle brushes. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I plan to upload the brushes to my Gumroad account. I'm still tweaking them at the moment, but I can definitely upload them. So you see, these just are various speckles for if I want to do freckles or various. Like I said, some of these I don't really use. They're just there that I've. And all these brushes are just ones that I've found online and been experimenting with, and you know, just found brushes that I liked, so I've added them to my brush set. So to be honest, none of these are ones I've made, they're what other people have made. So, you know, if I put them on my Gumroad, they'll be up there for free. I'm not going to pay for somebody else's work. But to be honest, I've had that many brushes over the years that I don't know who made them. So I'd love to be able to sort of credit the brushes, but I've no idea. And then there's just some here for hair, but again, I don't really use these because I don't, you know, these are ones where I've thought, oh, well, you know, oh, that might be good for eyelashes, so I'll give that a try later on, you know. And then you've got just stuff like this. Actually, that one might be quite good for hair. But the problem is I get these brushes and I add them and then I forget I've got them. Yeah, I got that one because I thought, oh, it might be good for this guy's beard, but then I tried it and it didn't really work. Then these texture ones I mainly got for sort of background, you know, if you want to do a interesting looking background. That's it really. But like I say, I only tend to use maybe these three and a couple of these, and that's it. So I hope that was useful. Right, get rid of that. Oh, every time I look at that ear, I just think, oh, need to sort that out. So I think I was back here. So what I tend to do is I just add the colour in and then I go with an eraser and just soften the edges if I need them. Or if I need a hard edge, I use this one of the hard brushes to add in sort of more of a crease. Burger King Kids Club, cool name. On average, well, I'm sort of limited because I do these paintings before I start my main day job. So I try and do maybe an hour in the morning between 8 and 9, maybe a bit longer if I'm in the mood. And that's it. That's all I get really to do a day. So it's just doing a little bit every morning, but I like to try and do a bit every day just so that I'm sort of, you know, progressing in a way. So that's what I tend to do. I also tend to have music playing, It's very quiet at the moment. I've found because I did a live stream a while ago and I wanted to upload it to YouTube, but then I uploaded it to YouTube, and because the radio was on in the background or I had music playing, I just got spammed with loads of, oh, you've got copyrighted material in your video. So I just thought, right, well, from now on I'll just have no music, and then I just can't get spammed about it. So this shadow needs to deepen this and add a bit more shape to his upper arm. It's no problem, happy to share. I think if you're taking the time to follow me, then I need to sort of give something back, and I'm happy to give something back. I'm always available. Just if you ever need to ask a question or anything, just send it along. I'm more than happy to try and answer stuff. I don't see the point in having a page and having people follow you if they can't ask questions. And they don't feel like they can talk to you. No, thanks, Burger King Kids Club. That's really nice. I do feel like I'm getting better. Like I was saying earlier, when I look back at the work I was doing a year ago, and then a year ago before that, I can see a nice sort of progression, which is good, and it sort of pushes you to do more. So what I tend to do is I paint a bit, and then I flick the layer on and off, like this. And then if I think, oh yeah, I'm happy with that, I merge it down. I say I don't like lots of layers, but I mean, well, compared to some people I've seen, there's not many layers there. But I like work on a layer. When I'm happy, I merge it down, add another layer, carry on working, merge it down, you know. Hi everybody. Welcome. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'll probably be on for another 10-15 minutes, so do give me a shout. Oops. Just adding a bit of a highlight to these creases under his arm. What do you mean by design? How long do you design? Do you mean how long does it take me to sort of paint this guy? Years why? How long have I been drawing? Well, I've always been drawing since I was a kid. That's a long time ago now. But then when I got into doing 3D, because I'm a game developer, so my day job is making games. Back in 1994, I think it was, I started as in a games job. Once I started in 3D, then my drawing skills, I just never drew. I never painted or anything because I was developing everything in 3D. But then a few years ago, something I've always wanted to do is get back into drawing and painting. So a few years ago, I just sort of said, right, I'm going to knuckle down and I'm going to get back into it and I'm going to draw. So what I started off doing is just drawing a little bit every day and just progressing. So I'd say maybe the past 4 years, it's taken me to go from, if you look on my feed, I might have some sort of early sketches when I began. I've tracked it all actually. I've got a Tumblr account that I set up, and all it does is it copies, I copied the posts into that, but you can actually see right back to when I began, and I was doing gesture drawings, and then I moved up to doing sketches in a sketch pad, and then gradually progressed to working in an iPad, and now up to where I am now, where I'm painting in colour from the start. So yeah, maybe probably 4 years from when I started to get back into it, really. Hey, thanks. I actually enjoy doing it as well. I find it quite relaxing. So I think it's a nice way to start the day. Just do a bit of relaxing painting. So I'm just adding a bit more definition to his muscles. Because when I look over here, they were looking a bit blurred and out of focus. So I'm just going in and tweaking them just to get them a bit more defined. Because that was the point in this portrait. I wanted to do 3 things. I wanted to do a male subject. I wanted to do somebody with darker skin, because all my previous portraits, well, most of them have been females with lighter skin. And I also wanted to add a bit of anatomy in there as well, so this was perfect with all the muscles and the back muscles and everything. I'm just adding this highlight here, but then I'm looking back on this just to make sure it's not too strong, it's not too subtle, that you can actually see it. A walnut, oh thanks. It's probably because I'm just staring at his back. Maybe I should do a little bit of work on his face, so he doesn't look like a walnut. So because I know I want a bit of a sharper crease here, just switch to a harder brush. And then blend in the edges. And it just gives that sort of subtle crease look. No, I've not used Sketchbook Pro yet. A lot of people keep asking me that, so I'm gonna have to download it and have a look at it. To be honest, I'm quite comfortable using Photoshop, so I don't feel at the moment like learning a new package. It's like now if I go back and use the iPad Pro and Procreate, because I'm that used to using Photoshop, I'm looking for the Liquify brush, and you know, I'm looking to use Liquify, but they don't have that, and there's other tools that I sort of miss. I do like using the iPad, don't get me wrong, when I'm out and about. You know, when I go on holiday later on this year, I'm going to take the iPad and do some sketching while I'm away. Just because the Mobile Studio Pro is brilliant, but it's a bit big and bulky to just chuck in your luggage and take away with you. So I think that shoulder's a bit too bright. I think this is probably why these take so long, because I'm constantly sort of just tweaking and adjusting. So feel free to ask any questions if you've got any. I'll be happy to try and answer them. Yeah, I think it has. I think it's only got 512 gig, so it's not tons. But I use Dropbox as well, so the stuff I'm working on now is saved to Dropbox, and then I can work on it on my desktop, save it, and then I can come back here, you know, and vice versa. And I can also selectively choose what I download from Dropbox rather than just have everything on here. So it could probably do with more storage. I'm pretty sure it's 512. But you can always just get a external hard drive and plug it in if you need more storage. I'm always worried that I'm working on wrong layer. Done that too many times before. Spent half an hour painting and realised it was on the wrong layer. Don't know why it does that every now and again. Look like a little splodge. It's almost like you're painting with real paint and it just drops a splodge of paint on your canvas. The difference is obviously you can sort of undo it on this. Can't in real life. Yeah, there haven't really been any. When I was decided to get back into drawing and painting, I did look around for tutorials and things to sort of help, but I just found the best way was to just dive in and just start experimenting, start sketching to start off with, and just I think the key thing is to start off slowly and build up to bigger projects. I think if you think, oh, I'm going to start painting, and then you think, right, I'm just gonna start painting, I'm going to paint a full portrait, within half an hour you're going to get that frustrated that you're just going to pack it in. So I think you just need to start off gradually, with basic sketches and things, and like you said, just experiment until you find a workflow that you're happy with, because somebody else's techniques might not fit with you and you might not feel comfortable doing them. Yeah, I haven't done any. I started off doing sketches on paper and then I moved to digital, and I haven't done any paper sketches really for a long time. I think it'd be interesting to go back and try and do some. Yeah, Thanos would be cool. Just thinking back to your earlier comment, I've not really done any sort of fan art, as it's called. I might have to try and do some at some point. So, still lots to do on him. I might see if I can get a little bit of time in later. It would be nice to finish him today, but I don't think that's going to happen looking at him. And I think what I need to do is flip the canvas as well. That's always good when you get to a point with a painting where you think, I'm a bit stuck and I'm not sure where to go. Flip the canvas and then suddenly you'll think, oh yeah, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right, and it sort of gives you a new perspective. It's probably quite an old tip, but it's a good one. So I think I might leave the live stream here and call it a day, and I'll try and do some more work on this guy later. Yeah, I can imagine that, especially because, like I say, a painting like this takes about 10 hours. I couldn't imagine sitting and sketching for 10 hours. I don't know, maybe it's a challenge for some point in the future. I'll maybe try and go back to traditional art and try and do one completely in pencil. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, thanks everybody for watching. This will be on my story if you've missed anything from earlier, for the next 24 hours, and I will probably upload it to YouTube as well if everybody is interested in that. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and I'll probably do some more live streams next week.